Blessings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and everything else in between. I'm your host, the one and only Mr. LP, and I'm here with Wall Street. Thank you, and welcome to ENLIVEN Global Media. We are back, and we are happy to keep everything going and so forth. First and foremost, how are you doing, Raw Silk?
I am doing fine, Mr. LP. Good to be sharing the airwaves again with you.
Amen, amen, amen. We're fighting little technical issues, everybody. We apologize for anything. I don't know why, but the thing is, we're trying to do what we can and
That's
stuff
just
like
the
that.
devil being.
Exactly, the devil being messy and things like that is trying to tell me it's blocked, is this, is that. I don't know why. It's just funny as could be, but we're going to keep on going no matter what. So we're going to make it. First and foremost, I want to apologize that we took a little bit of a long break. That was mostly me. I had some health issues. Thank you, everybody. I let it be known I had prostate cancer, stage 2. And also a bunch of other different health ailments and everything else in between. And it's been a little bit challenging, but I'm here. I'm going to call God be the glory and let it work itself from there. So I'm just going to take it as it is. What have you been up to for the last few months, Queen? What have you been up to the last few months?
Listen, I am now officially retired. So I've been working on my projects and pouring my energy into getting these books out that I've been trying.
I understand. It's been a little bit troublesome and things. So we're going to make it work. I'm sorry for the delay, everybody. We're going to keep on going the best that we can. Don't know why. But first and foremost, as many of you know, we've been having a bad situation that's been going on out there. The opening statement. So, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, somehow, somewhere. Well, Silk, when you get a chance, please, if you can hear us, join back in. Yes, her access has lost, so we're going to make it work in terms of getting back going. But tonight's show topic, we coming back on. Unfortunately, not the best of terms. It's really hard out there in the world. People have been struggling with the gas prices and crime, everything else. We have a war going on that's unnecessary and everything else. And now also back at it again, summer season, spring season, and they're out to kill us and our youth again. So it's very troublesome. Don't know why. But tonight's show is called The Cost of the Catch, Karmelo Anthony in a Systemic Trap. And it's I can honestly say that this has been a very troubling situation. And there's a lot of truth, false rumors, everything else out there, and some of the information is there. We have not been able to confirm everything out there, but we're going to give you the facts for all that's going on and things like that. So stick with us. I'm going to give Tracy a second here to try to get back on because she's very essential to the show. And then if not, we're going to keep on going with the information. But now that people are here, tell me your thoughts. I would like to hear anybody's questions, comments, concerns regarding the situation. It's been a troubling time. I know some people have been upset. But if you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to message us here. On social media, on our Facebook pages, and also on LinkedIn, and also on our YouTube pages. We are here to help everybody. We want to make sure everybody share their thoughts and courage. Feel free to speak on different situations. So we're going to go from there. Silk, are you there?
Yeah, I'm back, Mr. LP. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to make sure that it's getting out there.
I think it's the heat advisory. That's what I'm going.
Well, I listen. I know I'm very hot and all and things like that. I know I've been known as the Black Brad Pitt and things. And it can be intimidating, but I
Oh
try to keep
God.
it cool for everybody.
Yeah, I didn't miss
And
this.
all right. Well, I was saying that right now we're in a bad situation where, we have the wars going on. We have, people are hurting with gas prices, jobs. They say they're hiring, but they're not really trying to hire. They just say that for stockbrokers to make people feel better. We've got all types of situations going on out there. What do you think? Before I get into the subject, what do you think of going on in the last few months and what we're trying to get through?
I think it was everything that we said it was going to be. I think that everything that we predicted would happen by putting the orange person back in office happened. It's happening. So it's as no surprise. So for those of us that already foresaw this, we already started preparing ahead of time. So none of this is any surprise. We know that he's a pathological liar. He spent his whole lifetime lying. So with low gas prices, where's the cheap eggs? Where's all of the things that was promised? Like we are actually in triple digits. Gas is like almost $5 a gallon. The wars that he said he wasn't going to start, that he started.
Exactly. It's sad. We got to do better. But here's my opening statement, regarding the situation. The title of the show is called The Cost of the Cat, Carmelo Anthony and Systemic Traffic. We have a lot of information, some facts, some false rumors we're going to try to clear up, and more. So, welcome back again. Tonight, we're going to start off in Texas with Carmelo Anthony, 17 years old when the situation happened. At a track meet, a rainy morning, a tent, a shove, a knife, and now 35 years in Texas prison. Convicted by a jury that did not include a single black person in a county where black folks are one out of every 10 residents. The appeal was filed yesterday, and this story is not over, and neither will this conversation. Obviously, it's going to take more than one day. Let me be clear for the start. A young man's dead. Austin Metcalf, 17, died on the field, and his twin brother beside him in his arms, if I understand. Regardless, did anybody feel I'm going to put respect on a life? Full stop. And we hold a family, tight, both families tight, because this should not have happened. Two 17-year-olds walked into the stadium. Neither one walked out with their future over dumbness, bullying, whatever. Two families destroyed. And one question is hanging over this whole country is, does the system weigh a black child's life and a black child's fear the same way it weighs everybody else? And we all know that answer is no. And let's not be dumb about it. Because here's what's honestly lying, keeping me up at night, is this: that 8 days ago, literally just 8 days ago, South Carolina, a grown man chased a 14-year-old black boy named Cyrus Carmack Belcher, I believe is his name, more than 100 yards, longer than a football field, to shoot him in the back over water bottles that he already put back on the shelf. The man walked out of courtroom free with black people in the jury, you know, not guilty, same week, same county, same so called self defense law. And of course, now we got to find ways to, you know, tear up the man to say he brandished a gun and have a gun or whatever. And I want people to understand that there's a difference between, I'm going to go into it later, but there's a difference between having and brandishing a gun. And if you think these are isolated stories, stay with us because we're going to walk it back. Uh, 20 something years ago, Latasha Harris, we already had Tavon, Tamir, Jordan Davis, Ralph Yarl, Arbery, different decades, different cities, different shooters, same arithmetic. When a black child dies, the system finds a reason. When a black child defends itself, the system finds a sentence. We're not here for any conspiracy theories. I know plenty of people subscribe to that, and to some, there may be some truth in the aspects of those conspiracy theories. And there have been plenty on every side. I'm not going to dismiss that, but what we're going to call it, we're going to call those things out too. But what we are here for is the record. in information that actually shows the facts, the truth, the system. So pull up, drop your comments, questions, comments, concerns. Join us in the conversation. Feel free to share, like, and most people will probably catch this on the rebound or replay. So we're going to go into it. Before I start reading off some of the verified facts that we have from the case, I'll make sure I got as much of it as I can. Before I go into it, Silk, tell me your thoughts.
I'm completely outraged. I'm not surprised, but I'm outraged. I'm outrageous at us as the Black community that keeps allowing this to happen and keeps allowing this to happen to our children and our men. I mean, right here in Richmond, Virginia, we have a NICU nurse that work and that was actually breaking the arms and limbs of newborns, and she got 3 years. Okay, we have the killer, the assassinators of Aubrey. Their sentences is not no steep. We see historically time and time again that Black people, and in particularly Black men, are overcharged when it comes down to sentencing. It's historical. It's a fact, and it keeps having it over and over again. I'm questioning, where is everybody? Where is the Al Sharptons, the Ben Crumps? Where's the Johnny Cochran agency? Where are all of these people for this child who has now been railroaded and lost, is gonna lose all of this time in his life? 35 years is way too much of a sentence for him. And then in fact checking that we see that he is actually being sent to a prison run by a relative of the person he's charged with killing is outrageous to me.
Very much so. There's a lot to this. I was going to, and we may be jumping back and forth on some of these things, everybody. But I want to bring up the facts as we hit them. One of the things that when I made the statement a couple of days ago that I don't want to hear Black people complaining, and I know people call me a sellout, go right on the head, but I don't want to hear Black people complaining, especially anyone in Texas, if you don't vote. Here's a key fact that I don't think people realize. Texas have the largest amount of Black people in the nation, 2.93 million people, but it's also the second lowest voting in the country. And we're talking in numbers of 41, 51%. And the sheriff is elected, the DA is elected, the judge is elected. When the judge gets up to the state people records, those state positions, the state legislators, things like that, are elected people who elect them to those positions. And then the people that you're in the federal positions, your congressmen and your senators and everything else, and when they go into those committees, and also when they go to the confirmation hearings, guess what? Are the people that we are not voting, they get automatically, the others get in there, and they voting for the people that got moved up systematically up through the system in these ranks, and that's how they become federal judges, and then also later on Supreme Court judges. This is how the system works, and we refuse for every single reason. I'm not going to. There are fault in all sides, and trust me, both of us here, have family members, not by marriage, but also just by heritage. We come from all the backgrounds of everything from indigenous, Asians, Latin America, and white. At this point, we're all pretty much mixed. But at the end of the day, we know what it is, our skin tone, what they see, and how we are treated and classified. And it's wrong. So let me roll down some facts and stop me when you want to jump in, Silk. Obviously it was April 2nd, 2025. Mind you, this case kind of going by fast. Usually these cases are like 3 to 4 years we're here, but when it's come time to charge the Black person, it
They
seems like
rushed this. Exactly. Exactly.
exactly when it was the cop killing a person that busted somebody else's apartment, it's 3 to 4 years. Everything else and they push it out hoping that the public will forget, and obviously we don't. But that's what happens. But the Frisco ISD district track meet at Conoco Stadium, I know I'm saying it wrong, Frisco, Texas, Alston Metcalf was fatally stabbed. Okay, Karmelo attended Centennial High School. Metcalf attended Memorial. They were at the same age, rival schools. They did not know each other. It was raining, and they were under the team's tents. The confrontation began when Anthony was in the other team's tent talking to a friend. Apparently, the other guy didn't like it. and saying he's not his own team. He was asked to leave, even though he was there, invited, and talked to a friend on the other school. Multiple students witnessed testified that Metcalf and at least one other athlete repeated Athlete Anthony to leave. They put their hands on him and things. Anthony reached into his bag and said, "Touch me again, and see what happens." Metcalf pushed him and put his hands on him and grabbed him, and so did his brother. Anthony pulled a pocket knife out of his bag and stabbed him once in the chest. Um, Other teens witnessed Metcalf telling Anthony, "You don't have anything in your backpack." It's Frisco as some statement, big bold statement. No one believed Anthony had a weapon before he pulled it out. Pocket knife was roughly 3.5-inch blade. Now I want to also go into the fact that everybody's like, "Why you got a weapon?" It wasn't like, no one comes in with a pocket knife with the little with the scissors and all the nail file and all that stuff. Nobody's coming in with that. Stop that. There's no more different than what you see Boy Scouts have. And anybody that's run tracks or any parents and things with cleats, you carry spoons. You had what's the doggone thing? Screwdrivers, flathead screwdriver. You have pocket knives. You cleaning cleats. You cutting your bandages. All that other stuff. So it's not an unusual tool to have. I wish people stop acting like, "Oh, this is an unusual thing." Some of you who ran track before we got all the nice new equipment, you knew what you had to do in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s before we got new stuff. He did not flee the stadium. He was stopped by the coach and arrested on school property within a few minutes. So he didn't flee the stadium and did all this other stuff. He told the coach he put his hands on me. I stabbed him in protection. He admitted it. He claimed self-defense and pleaded not guilty. He died. Metcalf died at the scene. The athletic trainers of both teams could not get him going. His trim died in his brother's hands. First degree murder. His bond reduced to from $1 million to $250,000. And he was on house arrest during pretrial. He was 17. Texas law allowed him to be tried as an adult. Jury selection started June 1st. Jury seated 3. Opening statements, 4 rested on the 6th, and defense rested on the 8th without him testifying. I'm going to get into that in a section because I don't think people understand it. The jury included no black jurors. The fact that the Next Generation Act Network publicly denounced. Collin County is roughly 11% black. And the jury deliberated, which, they use all their strikes. I still want to question how the lawyer handled this, because you use all their strikes and you use the fact that they're educators as somehow it'd be biased, but it was black educators were not good enough, but the white educators and the Asian educators was good enough, but not the black ones. They offered a lesser charge of manslaughter. They declined it. They rejected the sudden passion law. They said, "No, we're innocent. We're going to go from it." And they would have capped it at 20 years. No. They gave him 35 years, between 5 to 99 years of his life. Only his mother testified after sentencing, asking for a mercy. And he was transferred to the custody. Within 24 hours, attorney Mike Howard filed a notice of appeal. And there are several important issues for the appellate court to consider. Now, here's a couple other things. There were an image that was made falsely linking the people together. Now, some saying that they don't have no connections, but the people on site there within Texas saying that they do know each other. But they say many people are saying that they don't know each other. The judges or things, they're not drinking buddies or whatever. But we know that it's going to come out soon that they are. It's a small area, and it's one of those towns that everybody knows each other. We have no records of either one was suspended from school. Don't know. But we do have record of Metcalf being known to bully other people and things, but they not necessarily bullying him at the time because they didn't know each other from that day. He just wanted to be big and bad, get away from my tent. And we all know on track meets, everybody's visiting everybody in the tents and stuff like that, go from there. Silk, before I continue, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? Okay. So the first thing, I don't even understand why this attorney didn't request a change of venue because you knew that this child wasn't going to get anywhere near a fair trial in the county that this trial was held in, first of all. Second of all, the fact that you couldn't find anything darker than a white sheet does is like blows me away. Like there's just so many issues that I have with this whole thing. And one of the other major issues that I have is that when that photograph came out, irregardless if they known each other, we've all been in a situation where we've been in events politically or socially, and someone of some importance is present, and we're lucky enough to be able to take a picture with them. There's a difference in those pictures and an intimate picture. You can look at this picture and see intimacy. There's a relationship there. Let's not BS each other, okay? This wasn't just no
Exactly.
happenstance. This is an intimacy picture. We've been in each other's presence before. We've shared a few drinks, some laughs, some jokes, and everything else before. So that within. So I'm really curious. The other thing is I'm curious as to how much diligence his actual attorney did, because I don't understand why a mistrial wasn't called with that alone. And then I don't even understand that now we know this, and we know that there was some kind of gray area, let's just put it that way. Why wouldn't that be pursued and explored versus a whole appeal? Makes absolutely
Ex-
no sense to me. I think the other thing, I think that it's tragic that this young man, lost his life or whatever. But who are we to say who was fearful for whom or what have you? I think that um, that media and their side tried to do everything to paint this young man as this hardened criminal and not the good student that he was in school, that didn't have issues and things, and that's the norm. We're accustomed to the victim always becoming victimized. Okay, Trayvon was a thug even though he was murdered and assassinated. George Floyd. The list is endless. This is no surprise. This is no surprise. The outcome is no surprise. What's surprising to me is where is the outrage? Where is that outrage? And I'm not talking about, I'm watching, and I'm from there, okay? I'm watching thousands of people take the streets to see the New York Knicks beat the shit out of the Spurs in basketball, right? Can we get that same energy for a young man who's getting ready to lose 35 years of his life, meaning that he's probably going to have to do 10 to 15 of those years, okay? And even so, even while we are waiting for an appeal, the fact of the matter is that this young man is now, this seems like something out of a bad movie. I've seen this script before where the warden is actually related to the victim. How well is this young man going to be taken care of going to a prison that is run by the uncle of the young man that was killed? That is just like, if that is not some longest yard type of soap drama, that we done seen this script before. We done seen what happens when inmates show up to a prison with someone in charge that has an axe to grind.
and
Okay,
very
so
much
what's it
so.
gonna take? Okay,
We,
what's it gonna take?
they don't care. We don't have the passion to do the right thing, to stand up and fight. We all know that. Let's be honest. If we stood up in the community, with especially in that community in the state of Texas, voting, this is the problem. Like, this is why Jasmine Crockett lost. This is why a bunch of other people have lost. This is why, when the power grid, Texas was the only state that wasn't on the national grid, and they went out. And guess which communities got hurt the most? Black community. But now,
Mhm.
last I checked, every other person want to run to Houston and things. They just bring back up, Houston's trying to be the next Atlanta. Why? All due
Yeah.
respect, don't get me wrong. There's a lot, in terms of culture, our African history overall, our indigenous history, our cowboys and our Latin Americans in Texas was stolen. I get all of that, and God be the glory to all those people there for that. Outside of that, don't go to Texas. Get out, because it's just stupid. Now, I'm not saying any other state's perfect, and Lord knows we got problems here in Virginia, but I'm still want to, I'm not going to be dismissive of that. Of all the states, I know Virginia could have its problems, but still, no. Let's go. Let me hit some knockout things for people. My favorite things. He One quote: "He brought a knife to a track meet, premeditation. It was a pocket knife. Pocket knives are everyday tools. Athletes, coaches, and parents carry them for tape, cleats, laces, packaging. Texas law allows minors to carry knives under 5.5, 6 inches. The state never produced evidence he came there to hurt anyone. The two never met. You cannot premeditate against a stranger you did not know who would be there." Okay, so let's get that out of there.
Right.
If he was innocent, why didn't he testify? Here's where I'm going to get to. The Fifth Amendment, pay attention, people, for those who did not go to school. Fifth Amendment exists for everyone. The judge himself instructed the jury that no interference of guilt can be drawn from the defendant not testifying. Defense lawyer, now we all know what George, technically they're going to do what they want. They can ignore it. But defense lawyers across the country routinely keep teenage clients off the stand. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse testified and walked. That was a strategy call too. Silence is right, but is not a confession. All right. Third thing, race had nothing to do with it. Even the lawyer said so. Now, okay, let's get this clear. The lawyer said race wasn't a part of their arguments. The system. Say it again.
I said, seriously, everything has to do with race.
I know. I'm just quoting. I want
The other
to be.
question too is Texas is a stand your ground state.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
stand your ground only works for white people.
Pretty much, or if you want to be somebody else and kill a black person, you can always say stand your ground, even though the man's not there attacking you. Apparently, for Trayvon, he could be walking away and the guy could follow him and shoot him, even though he hadn't committed no crime. Apparently, the other guy could put the water bottles down and go out the store and y'all chase him. How is that stand your ground? But that was used. You actually went out in both these cases and more. You actually go chase after the person and do all these things. It makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't he qualify under the stand your ground stature? Because it all fits for this case.
Exactly. Very much so. Let me come on here. Before we continue, let me be respectful and give our beautiful sister, Miss Sabrina D. How are you doing today, Queen?
Hey, Bree.
Hey, fine. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Your video is a little slow, but we're going to make it work with what we got. I appreciate you for joining us and things. So, everybody, this is Miss Sabrina, who does a lot of wonderful things. I can't too many things to list within the state of Virginia and community of Henrico, Richmond, Chesterfield. She's also our resident banker, and if you need a loan, please make sure you get her email address. We'll be happy to give everybody a loan.
Okay, don't call me for a loan. Don't call me for a loan. Will still be sitting there.
Man, she gonna hook you up.
But I just it's and I want to give Sabrina a chance too, especially because she's a mother of sons. The things that we have to go through to protect our sons, and this child, I think about years ago when the Jenna 6 situation happened, and I remember all of us getting on buses going down to Jenna, and I remember, the protest, and we made a difference. And because of that, another trial was given. This whole appeal process, if they're appealing in the same county with the same people, with the same attorney, why are we expecting anything different?
Let me give you an update let me give you an update. Sabrina, I want you to jump in, but let me give you an update as of a couple of hours ago. 3/4/37, something like that. During this appeal packet, they're asking for, and this was sad, they're asking for a state appointed legal counsel due to financial hardship. He does not have any money. He's penniless, destitute, and an indigent person, too poor to employ counsel to represent me on the appeal. Because he's 19 now. So the parents can't necessarily go get
Yeah.
it for him, things like that. So now everybody's calling his office to do it, but he did not return requests and things like that. Now a judge will determine whether Anthony qualifies for indigent and is entitled to appointed counsel. Now we all know that's what's going to happen there. Even if they do, they're going to give him the worst person possible. He should not be doing this case on his own. I mean,
No,
that's just
no.
this, this at this you know if this was turned around, first of all, the man wouldn't even be in jail waiting for trial. He'll be sitting at home with everybody else. So
Exactly.
it's just crazy. Sabrina, please join in with the conversation. We went over the list of the facts and things, but I want to get your thoughts as a mother and from there.
All right. So I have 3 sons, and blessedly, my sons have never been in trouble with the law. Not to this degree, just something very small. First of all, let me say this. I want to know who the 7 black jurors are. What is the
There was
possibility
no.
of seven black people all having the same opinion and saying that this man was okay to shoot this child in the back as he was running? What's the
Oh, you
You
talking
talking
about
possibility?
you talk about the young man that got shot in the back.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay,
Yeah, you talk about
different,
the
different.
Chinese dude.
Right. Yes, Mr. Child. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we were. I was
Now,
first referring. I was referring to the first case with Carl Anthony,
oh
but
yeah.
we'll go. But go ahead.
Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. My brain is stuck
You
in
saw.
one cycle.
No, it's so
So
many of them.
as for him, that young man, you were attacked by 4 white kids. You told him to leave you alone. He came back for more, and he came back and he didn't win, basically. Okay, he's dead. Nobody wants that child to be dead. I don't want their child to be dead. I didn't want, 4 white kids to jump on a black kid because he's black either. So then all of a sudden, everything for his court case is streamlined, and everybody's wondering why this is so streamlined and it seems to be going a little faster. And then we see pictures with his parents, with the judge and counsel. Come on. Come on. How could, what's the chances of this happening? We're looking at pictures of his parents with the man who is sentencing this child. Mr. Child get away with shooting a black child in the back for nothing. And this child goes to jail for 35 years because he was attacked by a white boy. 4, not 1, but 4. And it's okay?
So there's a person. Exactly. He says, Mr. LP. So Dark Blade 3N says the picture of the judge with meth cut family is AI. Okay, we can give that because we know AI is rampant. Fine. There's no mistrial because he was impartial throughout the case. White people are never impartial when black people are on trial. Cut the bullshit. Lady, you have no
No.
right to say you're in fear for your life over getting pushed. Are you batshit insane? Really? Because if I remember, George Zimmerman killed a 16-year-old fucking child because he was fearful for his life and the police told his ass to walk away. So let's not even go there. You got the right one to go back and forth with. And then he goes, hashtag melon felon. Well, very well,
Oh
he may be a
God.
melon felon, but your ass has stole a whole country and been committing crime and raping and pulverizing everywhere you go. Everything y'all touch is fucked up. So again, what's next?
I find it always. Listen, Mr. Darkblade, OM3N. Here's our rule, and I want to say this, Clay. Everybody has a voice, good, bad, and different. We respect everybody has a right, but one thing we don't do, okay, is play jokes on people's names, hashtags, and things like that. I encourage that. Please don't do that on things. If you want to say hashtag felon, that we don't agree, but that's one thing. But when you try to do rhyming and other things to make a joke of it or be funny or try to catch some type of catchphrase, internet thing, buzzword, that's wrong. Obviously, this is part of your
But
props,
I
your
think his
answer.
point,
Don't do
the
that.
thing that I respect, the thing that I respect about what he say, he put his stuff out there. The fact of the
No,
matter is that's the general consensus and attitude that
a
when
lot of
black
people.
people say that they're in fear for something, we don't have no right to be in fear. But white people can shoot people through the door, okay, because they were fearful for their life and murder a woman in front of her children, and it's okay. We can be in fear for our life and
Yep.
chase a guy the blocks of a football field and shoot them in the back, and we're okay. So that's the general consensus that you always dealing with. Right is wrong, and right. Like I said, now once have you heard me say that I wish that this child would have made different decisions? Okay. And one of the rules that we always talked about with my family is everybody comes home. I know that you're confrontational because your mother is confrontational, but in a situation, I need you to come home and then we deal
Yeah.
with this. But we was no none of us was there. We don't know what went on. And I one thing I know because I've ran football organizations, I've been around jocks all my life, okay? And you all know as well as I too, jocks have this cocky, arrogant attitude that they can take on and beat the world. And the more of them, the more cockier that they get. So I'm not saying that it's right that this little boy lost his life. I'm saying he wasn't no innocent person in this either.
No, it was not. Let me go on with a couple other things, in which alludes to they were saying he should have just left the tent. Maybe so, but he still should be. In Carmelo would not have been left in the corner, but should have left is not a legal or standard, and is not applied evenly. Okay, because let's be fair, Kyle Rittenhouse should have stayed home, but this man crossed state lines with an illegal gun, illegal information, whatever. A rich child should have. See, here's the thing: the should have comes to the black people, but should have rich child or the store owner should have let the 4-year-old run. What's the point? You chase it after over the store, and this is not the first time he did it before, and God knows, and that's just probably the two we know of. Other things. Yet only the black teenagers should have run turns into 35 years. The defense point stands under Texas law. You don't have a duty to
Yeah.
absorb the hit before defending yourself. Okay, so like you basically don't have
Right.
which just to stand your ground. So if I'm coming towards you, I don't have to wait till you hit me to be able to defend myself. Okay, well that's it. Texas juries have accepted far thinner self-defense cases from non-black defendants for years. Let's and let's see, child was oh yes, let's remember this case. Soon Jadu shot a 15-year-old black girl in the back of the head. Got probation. Now, if I recall, the magistrate said to go to jail, or whatever the pretrial. But she got probation, a $500 fine, and 0 days in prison. Child chased the person. Things it's just going on, and then here's also let's give you some numbers. People love to say we just playing a race card. Well, let's not get the cards shuffled here, and the data doesn't fit. Now, your own FBI people, your own Urban Institute, every town, the sentencing process, Georgetown
It's gonna
Law,
be a problem.
all these groups that are not headed by people of color and things that have decades of peer review receipts saying the same thing. When everything's documented, it's not a card. It's not just a card. It's the deck. Okay. Now let me give you. Everybody say, well, what's going on with the numbers there? In that area, 245,000 people, 48% white, 28 Asian, 9% black, about almost 20,000 people. Collin County courthouses in McKinney, 1.4 million, just the whole area. 10.7. I'm sorry, 11% is black with 120,000 residents, just about. You're not going to tell me that you can't have a jury of your peers. We see that Jay is not funny, but it was we laugh because it's just hilariously true. We see the Dave Chappelle skit The guy was in trial, jury of his peers, but it was all black people there. Things. It's just how it is. And like I said, Texas is the second lowest voter turnout in the nation, especially by people of color of eligible voters. And midterms are worse with only 40% of us voting. And when we had eligible people available. The DA who prosecuted is elected, the judge is elected, the sheriff is elected. The entire machinery of this case is on the ballot, and we don't show up. Juries come from voter rolls and driver's IDs. Now, here's another thing I know people don't like. We don't like doing census. We hear the whole thing, don't give them business. But we all know that there's plenty more people that could have been on and accounted, but we don't put ourselves on the census. We don't want to give information, whatever. But now we're shocked when we don't have enough people in this jury pool. Now, we have 120,000 people eligible people on a jury pool, but still, hey, we cannot predict, we cannot predict the verdict, but we know what the truth is. All these other different things.
Why couldn't you predict the verdict?
No, I know.
Tell me who was surprised.
No, obviously, you know. Also,
yeah. Who was surprised?
No, you're not. And then this is not a glitch; it's a pipeline problem, and we know this. A
Nobody was
17-year-old,
surprised.
a 17-year-old was tried as an adult.
Nobody.
The research says black children are 18 times more likely than white children to be sentenced as adults. Karmelo fit the data point, and which happens. Even if the jury wasn't even going to wouldn't consider the sudden passion because he's a teenager, even though that was not a passion case. He will be 54 when he gets out if the sentence stands. He'll be older than most of the people watching this thing. Some people may not be alive when he gets out. This is just stops in things. Before I got another part, and before continuing, Sabrina, jump in.
Well, I agree. Me and my son actually had this talk the other day, and he said, "Mom, he's gonna be guilty." And I argued, I was like, "No, he can't be because he was attacked and it was for." And I'm saying the whole scenario, and my son looked at me, and he shook his head like, "You should know better." And he said, "Mom, he's going to be guilty." And I just don't. I mean, I understand because we have seen it so much in our lives. But at what point do we matter? At what point are we given fair and equal treatment? At what point do we say 4 white guys were trying to beat my son? He told him leave him alone, and he went to, defend himself. And unfortunately, a white child died. When are we going to be given the same rights as Mr. Child and the guy who killed the baby over the Skittles? My mind is racing right now. And as Tracy say, it's sad that we have to tell our son
next never, because the reality is we keep going.
Sorry, say that again, Silk.
I said next never because we keep going to the very people who have oppressed us and taken advantage for generations, asking them for something that they're not capable to do.
Yeah,
okay,
but
most of them don't even consider us human. Okay, or whatever. Right, most of them value their animals more than they value the life of a human being.
Mm-hmm. Let me also answer Sabrina's and so many people. I'm sorry.
Next never. Beyond time. I guess my frustration comes in that it is beyond time to start having real, truthful, and transparent conversations. Okay, we keep trying to fit into this mold and thinking that one day these people are just going to wake up and have a kind pill and just start treating us accordingly. This is generational. This is in the DNA of this country. It is sewn in the very fabric of the flag that they salute and they're getting ready to celebrate 250 years of. So why are we shocked? Like, why are we shocked? Okay. Why aren't we galvanizing to have our own? Why aren't we galvanizing to be self sufficient? Because the template is already there. We can do it. And the difference is or it wouldn't be a Tulsa or a Black Wall Street because the young people in this generation will not allow that.
No, they will not. And the sad part is, though, unfortunately, too many don't even, other than the recent stuff, they don't know our history because we have failed to teach them and keep up and keep telling the
Right.
stories. Because one of the things I heard a lot. There was a time we saw a lot of movies, but people got mad about saying slave movies. But the problem, my contention was, these are stories that weren't told. A lot of people did not tell them. And then at the same again, we have to keep. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that some stories were not important, but we don't need to have the same story done again with the most latest and most popular hip hop stars. We did not need Roots again with T.I. and whoever else they could find, that Snoop or whatever, to say whatever just to get the attention and things like that. We have to stop with the aspect of to be entertained in order to learn. And saying some things are just not the case and should not happen. So those are situations that happen. Hello, Sabrina, are you good?
Oh, I'm trying to improve my connection. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Can.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, let me call
It's a
up
bit
on
of
my.
an echo. It's a bit of an echo.
Hold on.
All right. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Now, let me answer your question, Sabrina, regarding the black jurors in South Carolina. And by the way, it can't be done as they cannot do another thing because of the quit. Okay, sorry, I put it on mute for a second just because there's a feedback. Um, there's a framework of anti-blackness as a cross-racial phenomenon. Now, I'm using the word phenomenon because that helps them understand, but we all know phenomenon is not a phenomenon. It's been happening in history. One of the things I want to use is racial triangulation, was coined by Professor Claire Jean Kim. What happens with non-black minority groups, especially those cast as the model minority, get positioned as above black Americans on one axis while still being held below whites on another. For certain members of these communities, anti-blackness becomes a price of admission towards white acceptance. That's one reason why with the for some of the jurors, and especially in Texas. But we also have the middleman minority. Sociologist Ed Bonnick put out there. Immigrant merchant classes have historically been positioned as store owners inside black neighborhoods, extracting commerce from communities they often survey with suspicion. The structure itself manufactures the watchdog and following the accusing. We've all seen it. I can't even say it's stereotypical, but it's not all. I'm not going to sit there and say all, but we all know a lot of cases, the Asian American store that they put in a store owners and what the officers try to use as them as the watchdog of the community. And there's a level of proximity to whiteness with honorary whiteness that you see with some black people and other people of color that you will see that some would do, where they want to position themselves as one of the good ones by keeping their position. Certain members of the Asian, Latino, and yes, even within our own black community, try to purchase a status and perceive safety by adopting the dominant culture's contempt for black people, and basically by appeasement, by imitation. So if I act white, purposely do a certain other things, I will be accepted by them, and they will not harass me or give me the same privileges as them. So if I go against them, I'm going to be better off, or what have you. I always say, in a lot of these cases, especially these high profile cases in South Carolina, Texas, Trayvon, what have you, when I look at these juries, I always want to say, I wish people check their bank accounts for the next year during the trial and throughout the next 2 years or so, because
No,
somebody,
longer than that.
right? No, true, true. But it's just like I need the bank account watching of them and their immediate families and stuff, because somebody's getting paid
Yeah,
by the.
yeah. Let's go
So
back. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Let's go back to what you were saying about the Chinese people being the watchdogs of the Black community. A lot of people do not realize that when Chinese people were given their business loans, they were made to come into the Black community. That's the only way they could get that business loan. You look around and you can see it.
Yep.
They are
I don't want.
here. Their
Hmm.
Chinese stores are here. Hair supply stores are here. Every things in our community that the Chinese people have here is part of their loan. When they stretch out into the Chesterfield, Henrico, and all those other places, they are given special use loans because a Chinese store or a hair store is needed due to the infrastructure that has been created by the cities and counties.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The
Right.
further that you go out from there, them being the watchdogs, it's not that they're the watchdogs, right? I
No, of
wouldn't say
course.
that they're the watchdogs, but what I would say is they think they're white.
Hmm. Well, they put in there in some communities they ask them to be so. I don't want to just also claim now. I don't want to just say, I know you say in Chinese, but overall we say in Asian community
Asian,
as a whole,
yes,
because it's different, and they give it out to a lot of different Asian communities, Asian American communities, and things like that. Some and is wrong, and many of them are trying to do. And there are some that's trying to do the right thing, but also fall into those traits because they feel like they need to in order to keep their money. And it's sad that money has to be a motivation. It's not just the corner stores, it's drugstores, it's a whole bunch of different things. I have a friend. She always told me I could use her name, but I'm not going to in this situation. I have a friend. I haven't spoken to her in a while, whose family is from India. Parents, she's born here, but one of the things, got the thing here, was able to have a chain of drugstores because of that. And I've talked to him about how, and we talk about the skin tone here. I don't think people understand the skin tone thing in the Asian countries is bad with blacks and Asians over there. But not to digress, he's got the loan over here, and one of the things they specifically told him was that you need to put these stores in these certain areas, and then some of them were even he was initially in Northern Virginia, but in the well-to-do black areas, Woodbridge or the eastern side of Alexandria, Fairfax, coming down further down the line in Prince William County, Dale City, where you saw the lower, even though it's still high, the lower income areas where you saw many black and Latino people. Told them you had to have your stores there. You can't have it in, western side of Loudoun County.
yeah.
And he was like, why? Well, because of this loan, blah, 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 for that reason. And they regularly invited him to special meetings with the police departments, regularly invited him meetings with the judges and lawyers and everything else. And then when he went there, they asked him, hey, what's going on here, here, here? He didn't realize that they were asking for a report and what's going on in the communities. How many kids come in your store? How many other things? Tell us what's happening. He was like, I'm not reporting on them like that. I'm here to run a store. And when it got to a point where he eventually he canceled the loan, paid off everything early, and after 7, 8 years, he killed all his stores, 13 of them, because it was exactly what they were asking him to do.
So the
Go
thing
ahead.
I think that frustrates me is just to kind of like circle back, right? So we all watched January 6th unfold, and we watched a bunch of animalistic people storm the White House, have senators and congress people all scavenging, running for their lives. We had police officers that were killed in the line of duty. We had some maimed and seriously injured. And this president pardoned all of those people. We have a 17-year-old that could be rehabilitated, can get his life back on track. He already was on track scholastically. But yet we have to hope and pray for an appeal. That just blows my mind. It blows my mind that we have a convicted felon sitting in the White House who is a pedophile, who is a rapist, who is a criminal. And we have a 17-year-old child that has to go through this whole process, and no one has a problem with this. It's just
Exactly.
blowing me away, because I can tell you that I stayed on the straight and narrow strictly because that's who my mama was. But I promise you, me and Sabrina tell you, we confrontational as heck. If I had a criminal record and I applied for a job and he turned me down, I would be owning that company right now, because if you can tell me that a convicted felon could sit in the office of the highest office in the land, but I can't work in your store, I can't work in your office, girl, bye.
I
I,
can't get a license. I
it's
can't get a
just
medical degree. I can't get
exactly.
everything. Oh yeah, thing. I'll be honest with everybody. I mention all the time. I'm unfortunately been a victim of some of the situation. I have a felony for a check I didn't do. Less than $100. A series of 5 checks, less than 100. It gave me 25 years. 25 years and things and support. Thank God I didn't serve it, have to serve it, but still, it's just a fact. Let me give you people a walk down the line, history parallels, because people say, okay, this is here, the spot's here. No, this is a consistent pattern, an everyday pattern that we as Black people have to go through. March 16, 1991, South Central Los Angeles. Latasha Harlan's 15-year-old walked into an Empire liquor store for $1.79 bottle of orange juice. She put the juice in the back there and walked to the counter with the money in hand, $2 bill. Security footage confirmed it. The police confirmed it. Store owner Soon Jadu, 49, Korean American woman, accused her of stealing, grabbed her sweater and backpack. After a brief scuffle, Latasha put the juice on the counter and turned to leave. She shot her in the back of the head over $1.79 juice bottle, and died with the money still in her hand. A jury convicted her of voluntary manslaughter. Probation officer recommended the maximum amount of prison. They suspended a 10-year sentence, probation, 400 hours community service, a $500 fine, and she's now spent 1 day in jail. And then the judge told the family the killing wouldn't have happened if Latasha hadn't gone into the store in the first place. Now this
What?
is yeah. Now the outrage over the sentence 13 days after the Rodney King beatings. That's why I said March 16, 1991, and people remember correctly, helped light the fuse for the 92 LA riots. Her uncle, 30 years later, here we are right now. We have Breonna, we have Floyd. We could all do a roll call, and the nation hasn't learned anything. You know. Let's go to the fact that we had the young lady. What is the lady? The lady that got pulled over by the police and then she died in the jail cell.
Sandra Bland.
Sandra Bland. Thank
Sandra
you.
Bland.
Forgive me. Sandra Bland. Okay, I was trying to make sure I got the right name. Situations like this. Homicides with a white perpetrator and a Black victim are about 10 times more likely to be ruled as justified than Black perpetrators with white cases. The gap grows in the stand your ground states, including Texas and most of the southern states. White shooter, Black victim, 34% ruled justifiable. Black shooter, white victim, Um, only 3. White on white, 11%. Black on black, 8%.
Exactly.
You know, even after controlling for circumstances where there's weapons, there's other people, white on black killings remain 281% more likely to be ruled justified, even though they have no weapon in hand. So, before I get to the next part, I want to talk about devaluation and adultification. Sabrina, are you with us still, Queen?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay, I
Just
don't know what
Yes.
happened with the camera. It may just be my
that
frequency.
that's not a
Yeah.
problem. We talk about the heat here all the time. It's acts a little bit funny with the network. We understand, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we're not going to keep this long. We started a little bit late, but we're going to end this shortly. Um, Adultification, okay, and it is a word. I'm not making up this word. Is the documented bias of perceiving black children as older, less innocent, and more culpable and more threatening than white children on the same age, proven by Georgetown Law research in Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Black children are 18 more likely than white children to be criminally sentenced as adults. Black boys are perceived bigger and more physically threatening than white boys of the same actual size. The exact script where the Ralph Yarl shooter, scared to death of the male size, even though he was 16, ringing the doorbell, trying to pick up his siblings. Thank God, I think he's still alive. Black children are often treated as adults by age 13, perceived as less in need of protection, and read as angry when they're not. A Washington State appellate court said in a published opinion in 2022, adultification is real and can lead to harsher sentences for children of color if care is not taken. 43 black youth are 47.3% of children judicially transferred to adult court, while only 14% of the overall youth population. So, which means from 13 on up, and in some cases 12 on up, they're pushed into adult court. In Florida, worst of it all, black youth there was 67.7% direct file transfer to adult court, while of the 21% population. In Maryland, 80% of youth were transferred to adult court. Even though overall youth incarceration declined for the last 2 years, black youth incarceration has increased. And black girls are 3 times more likely to be removed from the home in state custody, where prosecutors
That's
are more likely.
heartbreaking because that's the same thing.
Go ahead.
No, what you just said is like I agree that no one looked at this and seen a child. Okay, he just became a murderer, a perpetrator. They didn't look to see. They didn't see him as a 17-year-old child, the same age as this young man and smaller than the young man that unfortunately he killed. Both young men that had him surrounded. They didn't see that. Um,
It's sad that
but it's
we
hard to
live.
see that when skin color is the only thing that you're pretty much looking at.
It reminds me of the phrase. Remember what they said? The reason why for justification, where the whole thing is keeping your hands out, because they said they were lunging towards me and I was threatening for my life. The big black man, things like that. I'm 5'6", at the time, won something. I'm not chasing down somebody else, but somehow I matched the description of the 6'2" person that robbed the bank. They say that night, but it was whatever. And last I checked, you can't really rob a bank by yourself, breaking down a safe and do all these other things that they used to accuse us for. It's crazy. But I want people to understand that word adultification, because look it up and teach your children what that means, because it's a dangerous thing that goes on in these situations. We need to understand. We know what happens. Sanford, Florida was 2012. I was in New York when this was going on, and Trayvon Martin. We have 2012 Jacksonville, Florida. Jordan Davis, 17, was shot in a parked car over loud music. What 17-year-old kid is not sitting in a car playing music loud and things? 10 rounds, fire, kids
Loud
not bothering
music.
nobody. Yeah, but you decide to go by, can't mind your own business. Could have did something, whatever. But you decide to start firing 10 rounds into a vehicle full of teenagers. And the first jury could even agree it was murder.
Right.
It took a second trial to convict. How's that a murder? You just walking by somebody and just say, I don't like this. Pow, pow, pow. We already know what happened with Emmett Till. We're not go there. We know what happened to Tamir Rice. Ahmaud Arbery, 25, jogging, come by, chase him 3 minutes in the truck and shoot him. I don't think
Yeah, what
people
about the
remember.
young man killed in his own living room?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the lady in Florida. I forgot the name of that one. Please forgive me. The police officer and things that took a while. We have Ralph Yarl, 16, rang the doorbell, picking up his little brothers. I think it was shot in the head through the glass door by a man who said he was, quote, scared for his life, but he was behind the door. Now he
Behind a
survived
closed
that.
door.
Yeah, but the shooter didn't plead guilty until 2 years later.
Yeah.
These are the situations that we got to understand and go forward with. And it's just terrible. I'm not going to keep the show long today, but I wanted to get us back on, get us going, and talk about these situations and things. Silk, your thoughts? Silk, can you hear me?
My thought is that it's time that we stop talking and start taking action. Okay. And until we do, and until we start utilizing our economic power um, for the respect and appreciation that we deserve. You and I talk about this time and time again. As soon as someone says that we're not doing anything, we're not supporting anything, the first thing people want to argue back, well, Walmart got TVs on sale, okay, which is really not on sale. And so I'm just a firm believer, and I'm of the age now. We need to stop going to the very people who oppress us in the first place, thinking that they're going to do anything different. Yes, there are some out there that absolutely want to make a difference. There are absolutely some out there that has helped us and have helped the cause. But I'm still also a firm believer that if it came down to a horn being blown and a choice between us and them, they're going to choose them all the time.
Right. When we often talk about how we hear this say we need to check our community, this, that, and the other, whatever. When I won't say all, because we both know plenty of people of them that do, but it's not enough. When are we going to have enough white Americans to start checking their brethren that they know that they're racist and causing more trouble? When are they going to start checking them and get them ordering gear? Because it's quick to say
They're not.
whenever.
They won't be invited to the picnic.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and things like that. It's just sad. Let me bring. I'm sorry, Sabrina. As I get ready to close, what are your thoughts? I know you stepped away. What are your thoughts, ma'am?
Catch me up just a little bit.
I was just saying that I went over the situations regarding Emmett. We had Emmett Till, Ahmaud Arbery, Ralph Yarl, who was trying to pick up his siblings, knocked on a wrong address, mistaken, and they shot him in the head. These are situations time and time again. We need to, what I'm basically trying to say is run the math with me. It's not arithmetic. White. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think. Well, I'm caught up. I'm was trying to get my signal straight. Let me say this: we can give up on being equal. We would never, ever be equal. Ever give up on it. But we need to look at what we are facing just being black. And like Tracy say, come home. We'll fight the issue when you get home. Our kids being looked at as adults and being seen as what can they're big. So what are they, a monster? They may be bigger than the average 13-year-old. My youngest son is bigger than most guys his age. He had a beard at 14. That could have been him in every sense of the word. Just because he was bigger than most of the guys his age, he had a beard. He had a 14-year-old mind. Why are our kids monsters and adults at such young ages? But their kids can do virtually anything from birth to death. And they're just looked at it, oh, my poor Sally, my poor Billy, regardless of what happened. It's not much. It's aggravating. It's aggravating. It's sad. It's maddening. And I'm sorry, I'm crying, but with 3 sons, I have to get that text at night to say I'm home.
I understand. I understand. It hurts. I recently went through a situation where,
Mr. LP, she just hit on something. She just hit on something that's really, really serious, because just to bring that. So my son is in his 40s. We're not talking about a grown man with children. And I promise you, my biggest relief is when he called me and he say he's in the house. And if you want to see me get pissed off, let me find out that he went out after he talked to me. And I'm ballistically pissed, because the comfort in knowing that, and realistically, it's only a false comfort, because we've learned that we're not even safe in our own homes. Okay, look at Breonna Taylor. Okay, so we could have just only have, for a situation when we were coming up, a situation you was always told to find a police officer or call the police. Our village does not call the police because we don't trust you. We don't trust. Time and time again, I have even called the police for assistance and end up becoming the person on the other side. You know that, Mr. LP. Okay. And so in that, it's like, damn, when do we get a break? Like, okay, it's obvious you don't want us here. You don't mind stealing everything that we got from our fashion, our food, our clothes, our swag, everything. But then these mothers' tears are real. And the hardest thing in the world, and miss me with all of that single parent and all of that, the hardest thing in the world, regardless if you're a 1 or a 2 family household, is raising a black man in this world. That is one of the hardest jobs in the world. Okay. It is ridiculous that at 9 years old, we have to start having the talk with our kids and what that talk entails. Okay. And this is not something that just started. My mother had to have the talk with her sons. Okay. I had to have the talk with my son, Sabrina. We actually have a script embedded in our DNA to share with our kids to make sure that they come home safe. I don't know many white people that have to have a conversation. Always keep your hands in sight. Yes, sir, no, sir. Don't talk too loud. Don't make any sudden moves. If you're in the car, keep your hands where they could be seen. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Or there's a whole conversation script that we go through with our children that people just don't understand how painful that is. Okay, how painful that is. They don't understand when we tell our kids, when they go, this is my friend, and I'm like, no, this is your colleague, because they will talk to you until they're with their people, and then they act like they don't know you. That's tough for a kid to have to be able to play little league with these people and run and romp, but realize that after the game is over, you're not always the one that's invited to the sleepover. And it's frustrating. And now generationally, now I have to go through it again with my very grandchildren.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do cry. we do bust out in tears. Me and Sabrina have spent many a times just at work, just like my heart just broke, like literally, like when I seen this thing. This is not my child. All I keep thinking is that could be my kid. 35
Yep.
years,
Yep.
35 years of this child's life is on the line, and he is going to a state penitentiary. We know what the state penitentiary is going to do to this child.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
miss me with that. Don't do the crime. Don't do the time and all of that. This is a child that is going to a state penitentiary. Criminals that are 2, 3, 4 and times his age. Okay, he is prime meat, and then to send him to a prison that's run by the uncle of the young man he killed. What do you think this young man's testimony is going to be
Wait a minute.
if
What
he
do we?
lives through the
Hey,
appeal?
there you go. There you go. He ain't gonna live. If the uncle is the warden, all we have to do is count our days until we hear that
Okay,
this child has been killed.
he's
This
been
child is
mysteriously,
not.
he hung himself for some
Yep.
foolishness that we're going to
Yep.
get fed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's almost as if he could send his parents a message every day that says, "Hey, I'm alive. I'm not thinking about killing myself." Every day, just to
Right.
say, "I'm
Every single
here."
day.
He's not. We're going to count our days until he is not
He,
here.
thank you. He's got to live through the filing of appeal and then hope that they accept appeal paperwork.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand where are our leaders?
Why does that boy have to? Why does this boy have to find a lawyer? He should be drowning in paperwork
Exactly.
at the jail with lawyer fees.
At
First
the
of all, he should
exactly.
be like
Exactly.
in the fact is like they went from guilty, and usually when you get sentenced, you gotta. I mean, after you found guilty, you got some time, a week or two, pre-sentencing, this, that, and the whatever. Nope,
They
they
did
got it.
everything. It was like a rapid refund.
And using that thing and saying, "Oh, that's an AI picture." Isn't that really uh what's the word? I'm mad, y'all. I'm sorry. Isn't that convenient?
Hmm. So now you get to use that as an excuse for
Yes.
everything else.
Yes.
I
That
think
picture is AI. They've never been together. Prove that it's AI. I don't
pretty much,
believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it's real.
and very much so. What now? What do you want to say to? And I just had this conversation with somebody. What do you want to say to the people out there that even though it was self-defense, he killed somebody, he should go to jail? It should be manslaughter, not murder. What do you say to those people? And also, there are people within our communities that
Say
feel
that
this way.
again.
What do you
Say
feel?
that
What do
again.
you say? What do you say to the people in our communities, anywhere that says that okay, he was attacked, and yes, he was defending himself, but he still killed somebody. He should go to jail, manslaughter.
What I say is every single trial that we have seen based on the right to defend yourself in Texas and Florida, every single one of those people who we have seen walk scot free need to be in jail with him. There
Fair
should be
enough.
a support group
Yep, that's right.
just for those people. And I'm going to say it, white people who have killed black people and used the
Yep.
right to defend yourself as a law
Stand your
in
ground.
Texas and
Exactly.
Florida, stand your ground, and they were not given manslaughter. Put them in jail too. Let's go backwards. Let's do that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Let's do that.
Very much,
I'm
very much so.
I totally agree. I mean, if is it going to be justice or just us?
Yep, that's it. Just us.
Yeah. So I'm going to, we try to all the time, and I'm not saying this to be dismissive of the situation and things, and not um, and dismiss the tone that this situation needs to have. Before I try to end with a positive statement, but before I get to that, I want people, and please jump in, ladies. I want people to make sure that you have conversations with your children, adults or not, again, about coming home. Because this is not a situation we're in a car and we talk about giving a license, keep your hands on the wheel to be seen on steering wheel, blah, blah, blah. If there's a situation, I can tell you from personal experience, give only your name and information. You have a right to attorney. You have a right to keep your mouth shut. If they beat you because you kept your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut.
No.
Because they would try to do so, and I hate to say that. They will try to use that against you. As a person that's been beaten, as a person that's been through these situations, even recently, I'm not happy what happened, but I could take solace that I acted in good. I've been through enough. If I acted a fool, I deserve what I got. Even though I was innocent, if I acted a fool, because now you're bringing in more situation. But you have to be
I
mindful
just
of this
think that
situation.
we need to put a name to this, and this is just a modern day lynching. This is a modern day lynching of a 17-year-old child. Plain and simple, a legal lynching. Okay, it's no other way to do it. So you can't do like you used to do and storm the courthouse with a rope and take him out to the nearest tree. So
Yeah.
basically, what you did is you used the court system to lynch this child and put him in a situation that you know the likelihood that he survives is almost non-existent.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna give off some things a roll call of good news. What we try to do when we can, and things are all the time. This last month, just recently, Spelman College of the 144-year history, 7 Black women were named Co-Valley Victorians for the 2026 class. I want to give respect to their names: Alexis Smith, Nia Sherry Perry, Corina Anna White, Ayana Ringo, Elisa Richardson, Sophia Davis, and Mariama Diallo. Forgive me if I mispronounce, but they have perfect 4.0s and go from there. Bowie State biggest class ever, 887 graduates, largest graduated class in the school history. 696 undergrad, 160 master diplomas, and 31 doctoral degrees for largest in the HBCU history. This past Sunday, Zion Livingston won Best Direction of a musical called Cats, the Gisela Ball, first Black winner in that category since George C. Wolfe in 1996, 30 years. And I can tell you from a person that does Broadway and stage plays, this is huge because there's tons. We talk about Black directors in movies, it's not enough, and it's always just the same few. And there's a ton of Black directors in Latin and Asian in Broadway, tons, and don't get no recognition, much less nominated. So this is really huge and opens the door for a lot of different things. Also, Mikhail Suleiman became the first Black winner of Best Sound on stage since the category was in 2008. A new Black woman's atop of the Fortune 500 last month. Karen S. Carter was named CEO of Dow, a 40 billion materials science group, assuming a role in late 2026 after a 30-year plus climb through the company. With Joy M. Harris already running DTE Energy, that makes 3 Black women serving as Fortune 500 CEOs at once. Not been done before, and it's sad we had to celebrate just 3. We were happy to get 1. Beyonce got the billion dollar status. Okay, and no disrespect, it's just okay. And the last thing is Africa is starting to get manufacturing some additional things for its future. Egypt and South Africa have established Africa's first end-to-end the vaccine manufacturing platform, basically controlling their own medicine and making their own vaccine, not dependent on the world, China, U.S., and things like that. So these are good things to go. But finally, before we go, I want to not leave you in a heavy because, look at what happened in just the last 60 days. 7 Black women, being for Spellman, excuse me, graduated valedictorian together with 4.0s. Black directors, Black pioneers, Black CEOs, Black inventors, Black welders, trades, truck companies, only supply companies, all types of things. We can do this, y'all, and it's been done. We don't. When we say, "Oh, where's the blueprint? Where's the blueprint?" Sometimes physically, I want to, but I don't. But I want to mentally slap them because the blueprint's always been there. It's not just Tulsa. We've had Black things here, even here in Richmond was the first and the largest. We just hear about Tulsa, but there was like 30 or 40 Black, businesses. All these different things. It's a fight. So yes, we spent tonight proving the struggle is real. But hear me, the struggle has never been the whole story. Okay? Please remember that, not just here in the US, but for our people of color, especially Black people around the world. The struggle has not been the whole story. In the same 60 days that handed down these verdicts, is that we handed down degrees, trophies, corner offices, breakthrough medical technology, speaking engagements, whatever, and things like that. We have our cultures controlling the medicine in our own bodies. We're controlling our mental health. We're putting in that work in our education. Scholarships be damned. We're finding a way. We only a whole bunch of money, but we're finding a way. We got higher every year. Is the last few years there's a higher, more and more people getting into trade, but we still need the welders, the roofers, all these other different things that things that's recession proof. We are not just what's done to us. We are what we build. We are what we win. We are what we heal, and we are what we own. So go to bed angry at the justice if you need to. Injustice. I'm sorry. But wake up tomorrow and encourage your child to be that next valedictorian. Encourage your child, grandchildren to get that certification, own your own business. Encourage your child not to just have a job, to have a career, to have a business. Encourage your child to eat healthy, your financial education, whatever. Be that next director like Arthur Tracy or Hardy Scott. Be that next millionaire owner like Sabrina. Because we are still rising. We have always been rising. Okay. And nothing they have ever done has ever stopped that rise. We've had a lot of stuff done. There's a bunch of things we all know that's been done to us in history, and some things we don't know. But we have risen, and we still continue to do so. Be a light, be a proof. Let's have, like Arthur Silk said, let's have these real conversations, real impact with these conversations, and real change. Final thoughts, Silk?
No, I'm like Sabrina. My heart breaks for two parents. Yes, the young man who lost his life, he shouldn't have lost his life. But I'm just thinking, as a mother of a child, sitting in the courtroom and seeing my child sentenced to 35 years to life for defending himself, and knowing the road that this child has to face. This is a state penitentiary that this child, and so even if your argument is he should be in jail, he should not be an adult population with grown men, hardened criminals, lifers, and all kinds of things. I'm just sorry. I totally disagree with that. And I think it's real easy for people to come up with that opinion when it's not your child, when it's not your nephew, when it's not, because we live in the world, not my baby, not my problem. If it was somebody that was close to you, you would see things a lot different, because we all have fallen short. We all have made mistakes. We all may have done something that, on, like they say, any given Sunday, could have got us either arrested or killed, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or hit somebody and didn't mean to, or whatever. Things like that happen all the time. So let's not act like they don't. And so I think that irregardless of who you are and what your skin tone is, you should have some compassion that this is somebody's child. And this is a child. This is not a grown man. This is a child that is getting ready to serve jail time. It's real easy for everybody to go, oh, well, appeal. Well, appeals take time. They take time. They take paperwork, and then they have to be approved. What is this child going to endure in the process? So that's my
And then
2 cents. I'll continue to live prayer.
The sad thing about it is they're not going to push through the appeal as fast as they would push through this trial. We know that.
Yeah.
At the
And
trial, exactly. Not at all.
because this is less than 365 days, literally. So that's one issue. The other issue is that this man should not be looking. I find it funny a celebrity can cry about child support, and hell, but I forgot the last amount, but Diddy getting a ton of money in jail. For whether you feel he's innocent or guilty, we can find money to give money to celebrity, but we can't find money to get this man innocent. We don't have a civil rights division to go to anymore.
Exactly.
That's
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, even though he's been sentenced, he still has to be processed through the system. So yeah, it's not going to be a 1, 2, 3 turnaround. It's not, or whatever and stuff. And in the interim, what is this child going to be going through?
Yeah.
Yep.
And out of all the things that you said, they're all great. Please trust me. All the honors, all the graduates, and I am having some kind of hope that generation will be the generation to make a change. I'm praying, because sometimes what we're seeing, it kind of negates what's going on at school. As much as we see those honors and those awards that are going out to those people, we appreciate it, we love it, but then we realize again, we're Black at the end of the day. And like you were just saying, we've had Black communities. A community is an ecosystem that is self-sustaining. We have had Black ecosystems many times, but every time we took the time to create those ecosystems, and our money was in our Black neighborhoods, and we were helping each other, where your dollar goes around 7 times, they were destroyed. I love the honors, but then I have to also face reality. Reality is we will never be equal.
Most definitely, and I understand that. Oh, and I say this not to dismiss what's happening. I'm not looking at it about it equal. I'm just trying to offer, like you said, offer hope to tell each and every generation that you still have a chance. You still have a dog in this fight. And those of you who are of other cultures, things wrong. Thank you for those who fight. Those who don't, step out the way. And even for those of color, you may not agree. Fine, that's your right. But don't stand in the way. Don't vote against progress and change. Some of you have been shielded. Some of it, you've seen the things that go through, the stuff that people of color have gone through, and you feel like you're not one of them. Okay. And I'll leave with the final thought that, the more we have children, and so I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but the more we have children in broken homes where both parents are not there, and you don't have a strong community behind that child, the more apt. And I'm not saying he's had a family, and I'm not accusing it in this situation, but many of these situations, these kids don't have families, and obviously not well enough a family of the Black community as a whole in Texas, because this man still needs a lawyer. So obviously it's not supported by our community, but we need to We need to do a better job of not having so many broken homes. And our children, watch who you have children with. Watch how you raise your children. Whether you're a single parent or not, do not transfer whatever hurt into that child. Make sure that we have this. It's not so much about respecting the law, respecting yourself, because the law obviously don't give a damn. The law does not give a damn about us as a whole. So, and we know that we're playing this game with not one hand but both hands tied behind our backs. You have to know this going into the real world. This is not GTA where everything comes back the next day. This is real. I remember the Karate Kid movie. I think it was the second one. He told Daniel-san, he said, "This is not a tournament. This is real. You can go out there and get killed. You could die. And this is what's going on here." For those of you, thank you so very much for just joining us. Sorry we ran a little bit over. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please always feel free to reach out to us in ENLIVEN Global Media. We'll be back on, try to keep on consistent and keep on pushing through. We have sponsorship. We go to our website and go to our social media pages. We got things upcoming for our NASCAR annual events at NASCAR to try to get support, sponsorship. We definitely could use your support, and also for other community events that we have, not just here, but throughout the region and throughout the U.S. Feel free to post and comments and leave your comments after our show. We always do try to read them and respond. If you have any questions or need support within your communities, within food or questions, legal, housing, whatever, no matter where you are in this world, let us know. We will help. We do reach out and give out information. I'm sitting here honored and blessed with two of the most resourceful women and people, not just a woman, but people that I know in the world, and I'm honored to be able to call them friend. I'm honored to get chastised and beaten when I'm wrong. Although I'm always right, but I'm honored to be beaten. I'm honored to be able to call them when needed, and I appreciate the both of you, and I thank you very kindly. Y'all have a great, blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. B. Thank you, Bree. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
night, y'all.
Good night. Stay with us.